Welcome back to the VDB Wealth channel. My name is Andy Vandenberg. Today we're diving into a topic that many high-earning professionals face, especially in tech: how to reduce taxes when you're sitting on a large, concentrated stock position. This is a follow-up to my last video on what to do when you're overweight in a single stock. But today we're zooming in specifically on the tax side, the strategies that real families use, the trade-offs that come with each one, and why there's really no free lunch in any of this planning. Before we begin, one important note. I'm ignoring state taxes to keep the examples clear and consistent. State taxes vary widely. California taxes capital gains at ordinary income rates up to 13.3%. New York is around 8 to 10%, and states like Florida and Texas have no income tax at all. For simplicity, we'll focus on federal long-term capital gains tax, which for high earners is typically 23.8%. We'll bring state taxes back in later, especially as we think about taking a sabbatical year. To make everything consistent, let's introduce the example we'll use throughout the video. Meet Alex. He works at Meta and over the past decade has accumulated $10 million of Meta stock through RSUs. His cost basis is $2 million, meaning he has $8 million of unrealized gains. If Alex sells $1 million of shares, about $800,000 is taxable gain. And at the top long-term capital gains rate, he owes roughly $190,000 in federal tax. Now multiply that across multiple sales or multiple years. The tax bill grows quickly, which is why these strategies matter. Now let's walk through 8 real practical ways someone like Alex can manage taxes while diversifying out a concentrated stock position. Each option has real benefits and meaningful trade-offs. Let's jump in. Outright sale done gradually and intentionally. This is the most straightforward approach. Simply sell the stock, but sell gradually and sell with intention. Most people aren't selling everything at once. Instead, they sell small portions monthly or quarterly to spread the tax impact over multiple years, and at the same time, build a tax loss harvesting portfolio to offset future gains. While Alex unwinds Meta, his diversified taxable portfolio may produce tax losses from rebalancing volatility or dedicated tax loss harvesting strategies. Those losses can offset gains from future Meta sales. This approach is simple, low risk, and extremely common. But the trade-off is clear. Alex still pays taxes along the way, and he remains exposed to Meta until he fully exits the position. There's no free lunch. The simplicity is balanced by ongoing tax impact and continued stock risk. 2. Options overlay. Options overlays create a structure around a concentrated position, especially downside protection. A core tool here is buying put options. For someone like Alex, whose entire net worth is tied to one stock, buying puts creates a floor under the stock price. If Meta drops substantially, those puts could significantly reduce the downside. Some strategies pair this with selling covered calls. The premium from selling calls helps offset the cost of buying protected puts. In practice, Alex would buy puts to guard against major declines and may sell calls to help fund those puts. He reduces risk and may generate income while he unwinds the position. The benefits are clear. He protects his downside, there's more stability, and he can hold the stock longer. But the trade-offs matter. Selling calls caps his upside. The strategy requires ongoing monitoring, and option income can create tax complexity. Again, no free lunch. You trade some flexibility and upside for risk reduction. Third, a Section 351 exchange to an ETF. This allows investors to contribute appreciated stock to certain ETFs in kind and receive ETF shares without triggering taxes. Think of it this way. Alex has a basket full of only one type of fruit, Meta shares. A 351 exchange allows him to hand over that basket and receive a diversified basket, an ETF, without paying taxes on the swap. This provides immediate diversification without a taxable event. The trade-off? These ETFs have strict minimums. Not every stock qualifies, and you give up the ability to handpick your investments. Unwinding it later may also trigger taxes. It's powerful, but it's complicated and not that flexible. Once again, no free lunch. 4. Tax loss harvesting paired with a long-short portfolio. Tax loss harvesting works by intentionally realizing losses in a portfolio. Those losses then offset gains from selling concentrated stock. Long-short portfolios take things a step further. They're designed to closely replicate an index, like the S&P 500, but they typically generate regular realized losses through rebalancing and short positions. For Alex, this might look like investing $3 to $5 million into a long-short tax-efficient strategy, and that fund may produce $200,000 to $500,000 of losses annually. Those can offset Meta gains as he sells. This strategy works best for people who have meaningful outside capital. To generate substantial losses, the portfolio needs scale. The benefits: you reduce tax drag, you maintain a diversified market exposure, and it's really a structured way to unwind a large position. However, these strategies often may have higher fees, they could underperform a simple index fund, and losses aren't guaranteed. Once again, there's no free lunch. You exchange the simplicity for efficiency and complexity. However, this is one of the most popular strategies used. 5. An exchange fund. Exchange funds pool concentrated stock positions for many investors. Everyone contributes their single stock position, and after 7 years, Each investor receives a diversified basket of assets. For Alex, contributing $5 million of Meta triggers no tax today, and after the 7-year holding period, he receives diversified assets that he can sell on his own schedule. The big benefit here is immediate diversification with no tax on contribution. But as you can hear, the trade-offs are significant. A 7-year lockup, limited liquidity, and no control over the underlying holdings. Once again, taxes are deferred, not avoided. You have diversification now, still have tax later, but you have time and liquidity constraints. 6. Charitable strategies. Charitable strategies are among the most tax-efficient tools available, and they can be extremely powerful if philanthropy is part of your goal. There are a few things you can do. First, a donor-advised fund, also known as a DAF. It's the simplest. Alex donates $1 million of Meta stock into a DAF and receives a full tax reduction immediately, and the DAF can then sell the stock tax-free. He can use that DAF to make charitable grants over a long period of time. A charitable remainder trust, or CRT, works like this. Alex contributes appreciated stock into the trust. The CRT sells the stock without paying capital gains tax. The proceeds are then reinvested. Alex receives income for life, and whatever remains at the end goes to charity. CRTs can increase cash flow and significantly reduce taxes. A charitable lead trust, or CLT, flips that structure. The charity receives income now, and Alex's family receives what remains later. CLTs are especially powerful for estate planning and can reduce gift and estate taxes. Finally, a private foundation offers maximum control, but also maximum complexity. Reporting requirements are strict, there are deduction limits, and the administrative costs are real. A foundation acts as a governance tool, not really a tax loophole. It's only appropriate when there's a long-term charitable mission. Across all of these charitable strategies, the theme is consistent. You receive tax benefits because you are giving away the assets. The trade-off is permanence and some administrative cost, but these are powerful tools, but in no way are they free. 7. Opportunity zones. Opportunity zones allow investors to roll capital gains into designated real estate or business development projects in exchange for tax benefits. If Alex sells Meta and reinvests his gains into an opportunity zone fund, he can defer the taxes on the original gain and potentially eliminate tax on the opportunity zone investment's future growth. The trade-offs are real. Opportunity zone projects often involve early stage development, higher risk, and they require long holding periods. The structures must be followed very carefully. Opportunity zones can be powerful in reducing taxes, but only for investors comfortable with their risk profile. 8. Sabbatical year. This is one of the simplest strategies conceptually, but it's one of the hardest to implement, and there's real cost to implementing it. Capital gains taxes are based on your total income. When your income is high, most of your gains get taxed at the top federal rate. When your income drops, like during a sabbatical year or a job transition or a year between roles, more of your gains fall into the lower 15% bracket instead of the top 23.8% bracket. That alone can create meaningful savings. Now, where it can really get interesting is when you look at state taxes. The gap becomes even more dramatic. California taxes all capital gains as ordinary income. An $800,000 capital gain can create more than $100,000 of state tax alone, regardless of whether Alex is in a normal year or sabbatical year. The federal rate changes with income while California's rate does not. Now let's say Alex moves his family to Florida, which has no income tax at all. If Alex becomes a Florida resident before selling, he can eliminate his entire state tax bill of over $100,000. The takeaway is simple. Reducing your income lowers your federal tax rate, and living in a zero tax state can remove the state bill entirely. It's powerful, but moving states is a real lifestyle and residency cost, so works best as part of a longer, multi-year diversification strategy and not a one-off tactic. Ultimately, if you have $10 million of concentrated stock, you can choose to live wherever you want. But here's the realistic trade-off. Moving states is not trivial, residency rules are strict, and the strategy rarely solves large concentration issues on its own. It works best when paired with a multi-year plan of gradually selling. These are 8 real strategies families use to manage taxes on concentrated stock positions. Every option has benefits and every option has trade-offs. There's no free lunch here. The right approach depends on your goal, your timeline, and your risk tolerance, and ultimately how much flexibility you're willing to give up in exchange for tax efficiency. If you want help evaluating your own situation, feel free to reach out. This is exactly what I help families with at VDB Wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.